Hi,
Cheers,
how are you?
Willie.
Look at your studio. I am so jealous.
Really?
Oh my gosh. I also want to congratulate you on another season of
Oh
the
my
show.
God, thank God, I'm so relieved,
I
Willie.
mean, people don't realize how hard it is. How hard it is to start something, anything, to start something during a pandemic without the plan that you had sketched out for a year. All of a sudden, it's totally different.
Yep.
And to succeed the way you've succeeded is a huge tribute to you and your crew. So
Thank
congrats.
you. It's all about
Congrats.
the crew.
It's a big deal.
We're all we've had, and so it's a testament to us. And I am saying this to the man who truly knows what making a show is all about. And you just celebrated, I see all your family and friends celebrating your 5th anniversary
we
of
did.
Sunday Today.
Thank you, yeah. Yeah, it's like you, we started it 5 years ago, not quite knowing where it was heading. It was doing something a little bit different within the Today Show family.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we tinkered with it along the way, the same way you have probably. And I think we finally landed on something that might stick around for a while.
It's interesting when you are so kind of gut convinced that something's going to work and it just doesn't.
Totally. When I started that show, so my other job, I was on the Today Show at the time, hosting the Third Hour.
Yep.
And Morning Joe on
course.
MSNBC. So I had these two jobs. And my plan was, what if I smash those two shows together and make some combination of that? And it was a little too much of the conversation off the top at the beginning, where the audience needed to actually know what was going on in the world and not launch into the conversation the way we do on Morning Joe. So that was part of the learning. So we walked that back a little bit. We still have our conversations, of course, but by and large, it's here's the news, and then we make the turn to it being kind of a magazine show.
Well, and we're going to do thank you for doing The Art of the Interview, which is a digital series I do to pick the minds of, you know, people that I admire, especially in the journalistic sense, curious people, people who have figured out how to have an art in the interview itself. What is something that is advice? I'm asking for myself here. What is advice to asking that surprising question that might catch off guard, might be a bit pushy, but really is going to ultimately bring insight into that person we're not getting otherwise?
I think it starts with trust. And I think you're really good at that, actually, which is that you are open yourself, you're willing to share, which you've been on our show twice, by the way.
I'm so
And it's a
lucky.
short list of the sun. It's you, Dolly, Ina Garten. There's like 4 people, and you're in that
company. My goodness.
But you, I know, if I can build trust with you, and you know that number one, I'm well researched, that I'm not interested in whatever the gotcha question is from the Gossip magazine. That's just not what I do. If you can start a conversation, and frankly, on our show, we have time. You know, I sit with somebody, as you know, for 45 minutes or an hour. So even if I don't know the person, I'm building a rapport. So once you have that trust, you might not even have to ask the question. They might just start sharing something with you or talking about, you know, I don't like to zero in on pain in someone's life, but if I feel like we've got enough of a relationship in the interview that they're willing to go there, then I will. Or a lot of times, as I say, it will just come out because we've built that rapport over the course of the interview.
I definitely am someone who is willing to go there myself, and I would like to welcome anyone else to go there with me. And what you just said made me think of your signature piece in your show, the highs and the lows. And I was wondering if I could turn that question on to you.
I love that.
And why don't we start with the lows so we can end on the highs?
Oh, okay. All right. I guess professionally, as I think about it, it's interesting. We've been celebrating 5 years of the show, and it's all been sort of the glossy interviews and all the great people we've talked to. But the lows are, as I said, it's still a news show. So a lot of times you'll wake up on a Sunday morning, unfortunately, and something terrible has happened the night before. And so in our first year of the show, it was June of 2016, we're only 2 months into it, and it was the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando. And I was on the air that morning, I think for 7.5 hours alone, no commercials, just talking and trying to get everybody up to speed and interviewing people. And I'll never forget the moment when the police first came out to the microphones and we were trying to assess what exactly had happened. And he said, we have 50 casualties. And I'll never forget saying to my producer off mic, did he say 50? Did he mean 5? Did he say 15, which is bad enough? Did he say 50? And they said, yeah, he said 50. And then over the course of that morning, I'm interviewing people who've just lived through the worst thing you could ever live through.
I can't sort of express to people enough what type of person with an empathic heart, a curious mind, and someone who is, again, incredibly well-versed in the ways of the world, the current news, and humanity in general, to be able to go on the air for 7 hours, hear these stories, tell these stories. I think you can really feel the authenticity of someone.
I agree. All I've done for my whole career is just be myself. Just totally be myself. And you can't play TV or try to be the anchor man or what would Walter Cronkite do right now. You just have to be you.
Okay, the highs. Well, let's end on the highs before we go to commercial break.
Well, for me, it's the people you don't hear from a lot when we land an interview with someone like that. So Al Pacino was one of them last year. I mean, look at this picture where I am cruising around Beverly Hills in a drop-top Cadillac Eldorado with Al Pacino. And that is an out-of-body experience.
Yeah, no,
you know?
That's a moment.
So I sat down with him. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, as I said, for about an hour. We talked through his career. And he said he was turning 80 and he felt like it was time and he was ready to talk. And then he just agreed to everything. Yeah, we can do an hour and then we'll go for a drive around Beverly Hills. And all these people are yelling at him and he's having the time of his life. And I thought, what life is this? You know, how did I end up in this car with Al Pacino riding shotgun?
Homework, curiosity, and being a good person. You know, I mean, you use a ladder of other people, it just won't be there. And if you use a ladder of yourself, you will build slowly, but there's a strong foundation there.